my side was reporting, your side just wasn't. So the laugh doesn't exist. That's fine.
Exactly. Just silence afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, that no one can tell the difference between the usual me dropping a joke and you not recording your track.
There's usually at least a bit of silence after you drop a joke. And
I believe now we've got a cold open.
Absolutely, welcome.
Just you guys mocking my jokes.
Welcome to Tanked Up. We wouldn't start it any other way. We are a video game and beer podcast. I'm Ben. I'm here with Aadil.
Oh, hi.
Hey, and Lucy.
Mark.
Oh. Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
We're going to drink some beers. We're going to talk about probably some games, I would imagine. It's normally what we talk about. If we're not discussing, you know, the latest political ongoings in the world. Beers first. Lucy, what are you drinking?
I'm gonna drink something that's beer and game related in a bit.
Ooh.
It's that what's it called? The Beavertown crossed with Borderlands presents
found one.
the light IPA. Yeah, they were all over. There was plenty of them.
Was
Wasn't
there?
even looking for it. Yeah. What's it called? Oh, Bandit Brew, and it's got one of the bandits from the game on it. Yeah, the hit game Borderlands 3. Hopefully, it doesn't taste as bad as the game is. It's 2.8%.
Shots fired.
It says keep your head in the game with this Bandit Brew light IPA. And that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I know they said they were going for like a light beer because obviously you can sit there and enjoy it and session it and stuff.
What's he
That's
playing
not
Borderlands?
how
What's he
that
listening to
works.
Claptrap?
But I mean, yeah, I mean, if you bought like 20 of them and just did, you know,
I'd need
quick
a solid like
20-hour run.
14% beer to get through the memes.
I mean, the problem there is, like, people do drink beer in the game, and they don't seek out light beers because of their gaming. People seek out light beers because they want a goddamn light beer. Like, it's just a weird, like, move. Like, I don't know what they're trying to pretend. Like, maybe they're trying to be woke. Like, we're not encouraging alcoholism, but we kind of are. I feel like it's that weird corporate calculation that doesn't make sense. Oh, yeah.
Sounds nice.
What they are...
Hey, filthy casuals of the beer world.
I was just say I kept that can just so that I could drop it at random points.
absolutely.
In the podcast.
Just bring it into show. What are you drinking this week, dude?
Oh, something. I'm drinking. I'm drinking a. That's the wrong trousers. I'm gonna take this, but I forgot which beers were which. I'm drinking a Deep Stars double IPA India Pale Ale. Well, double India Pale Ale from Half Acre Beer Company in Chicago.
Nice.
Again, that's a little glary, but the stars is real hard to read. That's why I stumbled. It has a government warning. It is a double IPA. It's 10%. Chicago, Illinois is where Half Acre is.
Nice.
And unfortunately, we went through a glass purge because we had too many glasses and mugs. And the plain pint glasses were thrown out / donated in favor of the random ones. But I do have this insanely tall thing. So.
Brilliant. You pull that. I am starting off a little lighter this week. Not quite as light as Lucy. I've got 2 beers from Northern Monk. I went into Morrison's because they've got some kind of craft beer month or something on.
Like even more than usual. Like it's not.
Yeah. Some kind of event. Who knows? It's a supermarket, so I've got no idea. But the first one I'm going to drink is It's Great Up North, which is an ale. It's really hard to read. You can probably just see on the screen that there is this like silver kind of stuff on it. Which kind of looks like, I mean, it looks like a city. Is it a city? Probably. But it's Great Up North, unpasteurised and unfined. This is a fresh product, yeah, okay. Is there any flavour text about the actual beer itself? So hard to read.
Go back to
Looks
primary school,
like
my friend.
no. There's no flavour text on this one. What is that?
It's great up north. What is what?
It's great up north. It's an ale. It's 4.5%.
So it does have text in the pattern, in like the design.
Well, no. It's like a city.
Oh yeah, so is that
Really
on
high.
that
You can see it
letter?
maybe on the side a little bit.
Yeah,
better.
okay, there we go. Okay.
Yeah.
It's Bristol.
I gotcha.
It's not Bristol.
Yeah, good old northern city Bristol
It's north if you live in Bournemouth.
or France.
Yes. Just yes. You're right. It is north if you're in Bournemouth. You're right. Okay, Lucy, back to you. How is the Beavertown
It's
Borderlands beer?
It's alright. I don't know if it's because had a 9% like imperial stout like
Nice.
an hour ago, but it is very light. The flavour is quite subtle. It smelled nice. It smelled like that, a bit piney, a bit fruity. Getting that in the taste, it's just very hard to distinguish anything beyond that because it's 2.8%.
Yeah.
It's pleasant to drink. But yeah, it's got a bit of lemonyness to it. It's body wise, it's not light body. I'd say somewhere between light and medium. So still getting that. But yeah, they've done a decent job of packing a bit of flavour into, the beer, bit of substance, bit of flavour. Unlike the game. I keep crapping on this game, even though I'm not playing it. I don't know anything about it. But
Oh,
yeah,
I
it's
thought it was
just,
like on Game Pass or something that you tried it out.
I don't think it's quite got to
no.
the free services yet, has it?
Yeah,
Give
I'm
it a
sure it will
try,
in
give it
about
a
9
time.
months. Yeah.
Yeah. Probably.
Where's Battleborn?
Oh man,
I
own
Where?
Battleborn. I think
where
Battleborn no
is it?
longer has servers. I don't think
It's
you
gone.
can functionally play
Did
that
it?
game.
Alright, that's interesting.
I liked it. And then Overwatch came, and people were like, "Oh, this is a different game, but we're gonna pretend it's the same game, and this one does it better."
I didn't like either of those games.
I played like 3 rounds of Overwatch, I think.
That's more
I've
than I
never.
played.
I don't. I own. Well, I say I own Battleborn. I've definitely got it on Steam. I think because it was for free from something,
Really?
but I never played it.
Yeah,
Poor
yeah, but this is
Battleborn.
okay. Bandit Brew. It's better than your what was it? Was it Carlsberg and Fallout 4? I think I've still got a
Oh,
bottle
God.
of there somewhere.
Yeah.
That's bad. But anyway, yeah, it's better than that. Much better.
Nice, good. Aadil,
So high bar.
how's the half acre?
Got quite a bit ahead. It's quite ambery, actually, orangey ambery. I wasn't really expecting that. It's been a while since I've seen an IPA that's sort of got that more deeper red orange hue. It's it's got a bit of a creaminess in the nose. What is that? It's creamy and sweet.
Yeah.
Like kind of like a creamsicle with a bit of bitterness, maybe some pininess to offset it, so it's not like super creamsicle. Creamsicle's a flavor in this country, right?
Cream soda. I don't know what you're
No,
on
that's
about.
different. Okay, well, my tasting note's
Creamsicle.
gone to fuck already.
Someone
that's it,
will.
only at the nose.
Creamsicle?
Yeah,
Like
it's
a
creamy,
big
orangey popsicle flavor.
Oh, okay. Not a big blade that you used to chop wheat.
No, it's not a creamy
Cream
sickle.
coloured.
Also, sickles are used to take herbs and stuff off of trees and plants. Scythes are used to hew wheat.
Right.
Why do you know that? I mean, it's
Why
great
do-
general knowledge.
I
But
was
why
like,
do you know?
why do I know anything?
And
Honestly, I know
that in
sickles.
particular. Just
So
like-
in this case, I know sickles because I read Asterix and Obelix. And
Right.
Getafix
I
uses
played
a sickle.
the Asterix and Obelix game. I got
and then
really
scythes are
far.
with death wields.
I got to like the penultimate level in that as a kid. Yeah, that dog jumping on the balloons. What was the dog called?
Dogmatics.
Oh, is that its actual name?
Yeah, dogmatics. isn't it?
Snowy.
Oh, that's
No,
Tintin.
that was
My crossing
Tintin.
over.
Yeah.
No, that was Tintin.
Um,
Yeah, I got really far in that game. Anyway, slight aside.
This does not taste
That
like
was a
10%.
good game. Oh, it's 10%.
Yeah.
Jeez.
The other one's a stout, so I felt spiritually I should end with it, rather even though it's much, much.
A 3% stout.
Yeah, that's a fiver, I think. 5 and a quarter. 5 and that. That's not. 0.4 does not mean a quarter, Aadil. Doesn't matter. I'm jumping the gun. This beer, it's quite tasty. Again, it's except for a little sweetness remaining after everything else in the aftertaste. Couldn't tell. It is smooth. Yeah, that creaminess is throughout. I'm getting a hint of piney's not the something close to pine, but not quite. Like something herbaceous, I guess, rather than just pine. But other than that, it's just smooth. A nice steady bitterness throughout. Nothing really citrus or tropically. Maybe the bitterness is just actually overtaking a slight mango note. But that might just be the sweetness and that smoothness going through. It's just sort of, yeah. I haven't had an IPA that's this like smooth and creamy tasting. Like it's even though it's, as you can see, super clear. It just something about the creaminess and the taste just gives you this idea that it's viscous, even though it's not super viscous. I will say the bitterness is there, full force, and just lasts. And that's, I think, the only thing that betrays that it's got more oomph in it than you might initially expect. It's kind of all I have right now.
Yeah, it's fair.
I can't
It's
quite
all you
pick
need.
any specific notes. Yeah.
Yeah, fair. So the it's great up north from Northern Monk. Super light in colour, but quite murky, really. Can't get anything kind of thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a similar colour to yours, Luce. It's similar colour with the same plants. Yeah. That head has stuck around as well. It's very, very frothy. Super carbonated on the mouthfeel as well. That carbonation kind of almost gives you an instant sort of bitterness, which lasts. It's nice that a 4.5% beer has got a bit of a bitterness to it. You know, it's not too big. It's not kind of dominating. As it sits for a couple of seconds, this citrus note, which is heavy on the nose, the citrus note cuts through that bitterness. But that's about all it does. It's a bit carbonated, a little bit bitter, citrus kicks in, and then it all sort of just fades out together, really. Towards the back end, there's maybe a little bit of a piney note towards the end, but I think that's just the citrus and the bitterness kind of balancing each other out and sort of presenting kind of, almost like a unified flavour, which is a kind of a piney sort of flavour. It's almost a little bit like hanging car air freshener type things. It's got a little bit,
piney?
Yeah, it's almost edging on kind of that citrus with that piney, kind of almost edging on a little bit of a not quite floral, but a bit more like perfumey kind of floral, a little bit more, even though it's only 4.5%, a little bit more of an alcohol-y kind of perfume. But I think that is just that combination of citrus and bitterness kind of just balancing through and pushing forward like that. It's a bit, I say citrus, it's very lemony. That's what I'm getting mostly. And as I say, that's it, really. That's all the flavour's kind of doing. It's pleasant enough. It was only a couple of quid. You can't really go wrong, I suppose.
Sometimes you don't need a full taste adventure. Sometimes if it's done well, you only need a couple good strong tastes.
Yeah. And it's 440ml can. So, yeah. Very, very pleasant. Very easy. So,
1 pint.
Drink that up.
So let's talk about some stuff this week. Move on from the beers that we're drinking. Can I kick off?
Yeah,
Of course.
Because I played a game called NeoCab, in which I've written a review of for the site, and I played it because I was intrigued. I wanted to know kind of what it was about. I'd seen a few write-ups of it, and okay, this definitely sounds like You know, it sounds like my kind of game.
A Ben game.
A Ben game. It's only very short. It's only about 3 and a bit hours long, maybe. Yeah, has some good replayability. You're a futuristic. It's set in it's a cyberpunk setting. So you're someone in the not too distant future. A girl called Lena, who is driving her cab around, and she moves city to go and reconnect with her friend. Like packs up her life and goes, yep, I'm just going to go down to this city instead. And when she gets there, it is this kind of, I don't know whether it's like Los Angeles or San Francisco, but it's sort of a West Coast American kind of, yeah. And
it's
she drives through
Ojos, isn't it?
Ojos, yeah. There's no voice acting in this, so you kind of just pick up everything from text. So yes, if we can say Los Ojos or Ojos,
Ojos,
Ojos.
I mean, it's not Los Angeles; it's Los Angeles. So I guess it would be Los Ojos.
Ojos.
God, that just sounds bad.
I've forgotten Capra. So you move into this city that is kind of dominated by this big corporation called Capra, and you are kind of you are one of the last cab drivers, basically, or human cab drivers. A lot of the cabs are self-driving automated cars, all owned by Capra, and it kind of unfolds into this, into this cyberpunk style tale, bit detective sort of tale. There's a disappearance of your friend, and the story kind of unfolds from that. And I think that's the story that's told is kind of the weaker point of the game. Like, it looks beautiful. It's got this lovely lo-fi soundtrack to it. As a package, it's really good. And the thing that interested me the most was the interactions and the conversations between Lena and her passengers. There's a bit of a twist on this in that at the beginning, when you get to the city, her friend gives her a bracelet, which is called a feel grid bracelet. And essentially, it's like a game mechanic that shows you your mood, and it's on sort of it's on a circle, and it goes from red to, which is angry, blue, which is sad, green, which is chilled, and yellow, which is happy. And the colors kind of all rotate around, and there's 3 levels of colors, so you can say whether you're super like intensely happy or intensely angry, so just a little bit kind of peeved or slightly chilled type of thing. And this understanding what mood you're in, or at least having an indication of what mood you're in, either helps you in conversation or hampers you a little bit. So it can lock you out of saying certain things. So if you have had a thought or a reaction to something that someone has said and you've become angry, it might present you with 3 options to respond to them to, and one might be locked out because you don't want to say that if you're feeling angry. You don't want to just kind of like concede the point that they've made. If you're angry, you kind of want to debate back and stuff. And it's an interesting way to take this. Like, you're not. I wasn't putting my perspective onto these characters. I was kind of having to feel what Lena was feeling and understanding and getting. Yeah, exactly, and getting a little bit of her backstory and playing the game as her. Obviously, there's a little bit of agency for me in there. Like, I can kind of take things one way or another. I don't think at any point I was cut out. I don't think I was led to make one specific choice over, say, being locked out and there being 3 choices. So I think I was locked out of 1, maybe. There may have been a couple of times when I had to, but none that sort of stick out in memory. But it's just super interesting having all of these well-written, believable characters and me having to kind of roleplay as Lena and get through these conversations. And some of the time, these conversations are kind of leading you to uncover a little bit about where your friend may be, has that kind of detective kind of investigative element to it. But it's more kind of like the random ones. Being a cab driver, you can pick who you're going to go and pick up. And you go, well, the picture of this guy, the portrait of this guy looks super interesting, and his comment underneath his name, like his profile tag, is something really random. I'm going to go and pick him up. And I mean, one guy just wanted to be taken to a subway station, and so like her first thought was, why are you taking a cab if you're going to this specific subway station? rather than getting, you know, the subway there. And you find out that it's like, from his conversation, that it's a disused one, and he's off to worship this giant worm that, or some kind of snake serpent thing, I think it's a worm, that basically just lives under the city, and he believes it's going to come out and devour everybody. And I was like, this is brilliant. Like, just a random thing. And, like, I could have completely missed that interaction and never spoken to that character at all. And there are lots of little portraits on the map that I haven't spoken to. And it's really interesting to think, what difference could I have had? Like, could I have spoken to a different set of people? My mood have been completely different when you go into, like, the final part of the game, where you're using your mood and the responses to elicit a certain reaction from somebody. You know, everything kind of built up towards sort of that point, you know, teaching you kind of that thing. And that was like almost, it felt like it was the only point where my choices actually kind of made much of a difference. Which was fine, because it was just fun to play through these other, you know, having these interactions with these other characters. And I almost feel like I wanted to, I kind of went, oh, I'll do a bit of story now. And maybe that story element is quite short, and it's just sort of peppered with lots of random, you know, you have to do 3 rides a day to hit your quota. So you've got to have some interactions with people. And I almost feel like I wanted that bit to be a bit more. You know, it could have been, I'd have been happy if it was 5 rides a day with people. Or if I could have...
The content that was like more gripping?
Which was more gripping, absolutely. And I wanted to learn more about the city and the society, the culture kind of around that, and who was inhabiting the place and stuff. So,
you wanted the We Live in a Society game?
Yes, that is what I wanted.
Yeah, I've been super intrigued by this. Because it's like on Apple Arcade, and I wanted to play it on there. But yeah, there was a game called Night Call, and that was a similar conceit. Like, you're basically a cab driver, and you're wanting to solve a mystery about a murderer,
Right,
or like some serial killer or something like that. I started playing that, and I was like, okay, the central mystery is like, okay, you know, copycat killer, serial killers. It's like, you know, surface level interesting. But it was the encounters that it was like, I just didn't get along with the writing. And like, I wasn't too engrossed in, like, you know, the one-to-one conversations with his passengers. I didn't continue playing it, which is a shame. But so this one, I mean, it's very similar in conceit and stuff like that. You know, where you drive around picking up fares and stuff like that, and, you know, a narrative experience. But I have read that, and hearing from you, Ben, which is encouraging, that it is, you know, the writing, the dialogue is very good.
Yeah.
And even if the overall mystery surrounding it isn't the best part of the game, or the overall draw, just those one-on-one encounters is what I want to get into the game for. That sounds really interesting, so I'm even more pumped to play it.
Nice. And I did, there's a couple of recognisable names like Leah Alexander and a few other people who were writers on this game, and it's from someone called Chance Agency, and it's their first game. So I wonder whether they've gone out and they've got, you know, like hand-picked a bunch of writers to come in and create this very, you know, this well thought out kind of narrative, and to have those kinds of conversations.
Because a game like this lives and dies by its narrative. So
yeah, absolutely, yeah, completely. I mean, it's super. It really helps that you have this kind of, you know, this very cool soundtrack to it as well, and the aesthetic, the animation is really nice. It's quite sort of simple in what it does, but it works really well as kind of like a whole presentation for this experience.
Yeah, that neon futuristic look looks striking.
And I kind of
cyberpunk people.
Yeah, and occasionally you meet sort of, you know, someone in like full body gear. You know, everything is like a digital suit, and they've got their big heads-up display in front of them and stuff. And then other people, there was a girl, I only encountered her once, but it was in like a mech suit. And, you know, you find out that well, I won't spoil it, but it's kind of just like the kind of the array of people that you meet is it's like super. It's really vast. So it kind of, it just keeps you intrigued. And there were definitely points where I'm like, oh, I've given this person a ride a couple of times now, and I'm invested in kind of their story and what they're doing, and so I'm going to go and pick that person up. And it led me along quite well in that sense, that actually I think I must have only interacted with 6 or 7 passengers maybe. But I mean, there must have been maybe, I don't know, 12 or so, to choose from. I probably only interacted with half of the people, and occasionally, and some of those were only on a one-time basis. So it kind of just shows you how well kind of the writing is, that I wanted to pick the same people up. I wanted to continue their story and wanted to know about kind of what they were doing. And I almost started another game sort of straight away. But there's another game which has taken up almost all of my time this week.
Oh.
Which is
Mario Kart Tour, mate.
Oh man, really?
Phone.
I played the first race of that
I
game.
wasn't expecting that. I was expecting to hear about a good game.
And I'm fucking awful at it. I couldn't quite get my brain to like the way it worked with the turning and drifting being the same basic thing. And then I said, fuck this. But I do have friends in Calgary who play on it, like compete on, like they're all enjoying it, and they're on a bit of a leaderboard. I should hook you guys up so you can see if you're better than them / have some competitions.
Absolutely, I've got a couple of friends playing it as well, so I can see.
And just before you continue, I'm just going to say that the only good Mario Kart is Super Mario Kart, and the rest is terrible. So I'm just going to be like,
that's fair, mate.
Out of this conversation.
Well, it's one of those where it's it's optimized quite well for being on a mobile. Once you can understand like the turning and the drifting and stuff, it does come quite easily. And I find I'm switching up between jumps and turning around corners and things.
Up.
Yeah, and I don't know. Nintendo just seems to be on this very good mobile games ride currently.
Really?
Fire Emblem, what was it
Everyone
called? Fire
said
Emblem
bad.
I
Heroes
played
or
that for
something like
less
that?
than a week off and on. I found it too repetitive and
It was repetitive, yeah.
And
but
it was just, you could easily saw the mobile game loops, and it didn't really differentiate from other hero games except for the strategy maps were mildly interesting until you played 4 of them.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I was similar. I kind of played for a week and put it down, but it shows something kind of good and gives you a little bit of that kind of tactical kind of grid-based action that is a kind of mobile game I haven't seen any other examples of that aren't kind of full of transactions and stuff like this and faff and things. And I know
I've played a bunch of them because I like the tactical thing. But anyway.
What was it Dr. Mario that came out and was full of people really didn't like it.
I didn't even play it once. I have no idea.
Good.
But they seem to be churning them out.
Yeah, but nobody likes them. No, genuinely, nobody except you.
Not yet. Hey Ben, I'm just telling you, a fucking nobody. You hear that? This was happening.
I think it's for those people who don't have Switches and just filthy casuals and they like their mobile games.
Well,
there's someone who's got Apple Arcade on it.
My name's Ben.
But yeah, it does. I mean, it seems to be the races are only 2 laps. It's not long to play a race. I can sit there and go, okay, I've got the washing up to do. Let's start the tap running, and I can play a race whilst the bowl is filling up. So
there's got to be something better to do, like stare at the ceiling. I haven't even played this game. So
yeah, so far you've shat on
every
2 games.
in
you've
that
not
kind
played.
of mood. Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, it's worth kind of picking it up. It starts off, it does allow you to kind of ease yourself in. you've got to gain a certain amount of stars to get or gain a certain amount of points on a race to gain a certain amount of stars, and unlocking more stars unlocks later tours, and it kind of eases you in by giving you sort of lower scores to get in those initial races, and then starts to ramp it up quite a lot towards sort of the back end. I only picked it up about a week ago, I think, and so I only played a week of that tour. It's then changed, so I can no longer play any of those specific grouped levels. Now I'm playing a different tour. It's introduced different drivers, different cars, and different karts.
Oh, so you don't hold on to your cars?
No, you do. You do. You hold on to your drivers. It's just there was only, I don't know, 15 to choose from on the first tour. Now it's thrown in like another 10, so there's 25 to choose from. And so you do hold on to everything kind of between each tour, and everything kind of levels up. So in a way that you start off with more points before you've even started driving. So it does allow you to sort of, you know, pick, at least if you've unlocked them, to kind of pick someone that you like. And it does have that same element that Mario Kart has, where, you know, Bowser is a slightly different level of control
like
as Toad. So you get someone like Toad or Toadette, and you can very quickly get round the corners, whereas Bowser is just a bit more, he'll push people out of the way, and that's about it, really. Bit shit.
Oh, heft. Is it only the Mushroom Kingdom characters in Mario Kart?
No,
Aadil, I mean, you played more Mario Karts than anybody here, probably.
No, there's
Samus there.
no,
Yeah, I mean,
it is just Mario.
Link there.
Yeah, it's Mario characters.
It's
Just
Mario
mushroom,
characters,
the Mushroom Kingdom.
So I didn't quite get what you meant by Mushroom Kingdom. And technically,
How do you? That's
well,
a
like, cause
common term.
are Koopas part of the Mushroom
common
Kingdom? Or are they just
term.
Yes,
conquerors
because-
of the Mushroom
No,
Kingdom.
because they're part of the mushroom.
So
Like, the Mario universe.
Yeah, the Mario universe. Yeah.
Yeah, the Mushroom Kingdom.
yeah, I mean, so it started off like I've got
This is
I've got
common
about-
nomenclature.
I'm
You know.
uncommon. Ben's rare.
Yay.
You're purple.
Damn it.
I'm just a dirty blue, green.
It does have some characters I don't know. So like Bowser's kids,
Oh.
Iggy, Morton,
Yeah.
Lemmy,
You don't know Bowser's kids?
Roy.
Yeah, it's
Roy. Bowser's kid, Roy.
Roy. Yeah.
John, Ringo,
And it's got Dry Bones.
Paul.
It has got Dry Bones, it's got Shy Guy, it's got Koopa Trooper,
Yeah,
some of
the
the baby
Mushroom
versions.
Kingdom.
You know who it doesn't have?
Goomba.
Luigi.
What?
No Luigi.
Luigi.
No.
You're joking.
No.
They're
Left
saving
out
him
the
for the
cold.
hit title.
It's
Well,
got
what about
It's got
Mention Free?
Paulina.
Wait, does
It's
it
got
have
bloody
Wario?
baby Rosalina and Rosalina, but no.
No, I
Does it
don't.
have
No Luigi,
Wario?
mate.
Yeah, how does it have all of those and not?
It's even
Where's
got. It's even got.
Waluigi?
You could even drive as. Oh no, you're not going to see Lakitu.
I mean,
Where's
you've
he
just.
gone?
Lakitu?
Yeah.
Oh, those horrible things.
I'm looking. So what's it called? Mario Kart
Mario Kart Tour.
How is
Tour
Luigi?
roster. I
It's even
apologize, I know-
got. What is this fucking thing? Dry Bowser, mate. Dry Bones
Dry
Bowser.
Bones. Dry. Oh yes.
Yeah, and then obviously Bowser.
They've got
Jr.
everybody except Luigi. That's
It has got Donkey Kong and Diddy.
How's Luigi not in the game?
Baby Mario, Baby Peach.
Booze.
Really? You're right.
No
it has a
booze.
Wario.
It has Wario, yeah.
It has Metal Mario and
Metal
Musician
Mario.
and Mario
Oh,
Hakama.
Luigi. He deserves. You know what? It's because Luigi deserves better, and he's.
Oh, I see. Luigi, Waluigi, King Boo, Baby Luigi, and Shy Guy wearing a chef outfit are confirmed but not currently playable.
Oh.
How did they not have Luigi as like a starting character?
I don't know.
I'm boycotting this game, and by that I mean I'm already bored with this game and will probably never play it again.
I have never downloaded it, and
Well, my phone's also
that
like just
is-
not lasting through the
so
day.
it's on
so-
Android as well. Was it one of those staggered releases, iOS first, or was it?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Oh, right away.
So
Yeah.
they did that with like some of the like Mario Run and something like that, where it was iOS first. So that's good. put the crap on everything. All at once.
Getting those little microtransactions, get people
Yeah.
paying for those little
Yep.
gems and
Sell it
coins
to
and
them.
shit.
No, it's probably on Windows Phone as well.
Ooh,
I doubt that.
yeah, I don't know.
I don't think anyone has a Windows Phone.
They don't make them anymore, and they're not supported. So I
Zune.
think you might be right.
Zunes, mate.
Oh man,
How do
I
Zunes come up in our conversations so often?
Because they're a fucking tech punching bag, and have been for the better part of a decade.
Imagine if you had a Windows Phone, the only way you could search anything was via Bing.
You'd get loads of points for
Yeah,
Xbox, mate.
You'd be a millionaire.
Bing
by
with
now.
Mobile Edge browser.
Oh no. You'd be a millionaire by now for those points, but yeah. You'd cry every day.
That's it. You can't cash them in. You can only own all the games. That's it. All the mobile games on Windows phones.
Yeah, you can buy like an Argos voucher and buy a Switch code.
That's
Put
good.
that on G2A.
We don't talk of them right in these parts.
Oh,
That-
it was
they're a
CD
bad
keys
company.
then. That's fair.
Good
CD
old
keys,
gray
yeah.
market gaming economies. That's my topic for the day.
Oh, wonderful.
CD keys isn't really grey market though, is it?
No,
No,
CD
they're
keys
fine.
isn't. It's just they buy
just
in
a
bulk
storefront.
and sell legally.
Mhm.
They're all on the board keys, right? They're
Yeah. Never had an issue with them. They're
I
very
did
good.
find a site called Electronic First, which is where I picked up my Days of Play year subscription for PS Plus for like £35 like last month, because they'd clearly
What's
just
Days of
brought
Play?
Days of Play is like that 10 or 12-day sale period that PlayStation have over the summer, where they might release a special console or a special controller, and just even at retail and digitally they reduce the price of a lot of their games. Days Gone probably had about £3.50 off. God of War was maybe like 20 quid
I
or
thought you
something.
to say Days Gone was £3.50, and I would have said that's still too much to pay.
Mate, that's got to be PS Plus before the year's out.
You remember that game? No.
So
Rest in peace.
yes, Electronic First, and I found that they're a couple of quid cheaper than CD keys. So there's a little tip for anyone who wants to save a couple of pound here or there. So yeah,
Well,
Who wants to
shop
do
around.
that? I want the corporations not to suffer, but with all their tax breaks.
yes, and the UK tax breaks as well. Hey, Sony and Sega, Japanese companies. So I mean that is a topic all in itself, isn't it? Really, but
Oh yeah,
kind
I
of-
was seeing if you wanted to segue into that as a topic, or just move on because it's boring as all fuck.
pay your
It's
tax.
tiny little
I don't wanna pay
segue
my
adjacent
tax.
segue.
Yes. I'm going to open another beer.
Me too.
It's Great Up North went down very, very quickly.
I will
Do we
say
have-
one more thing about this beer, which is it's creamy, and I think it's that herbaceousness. I think is a bit resiny, not piney. The resin.
Okay.
Is herbosity a word?
Herbalicious.
Herbalicious. I don't remember the rest of the Fergalicious song. I was gonna go into it. I'm like, I don't know anymore. I just know that she says Fergalicious, and then that guy talks a lot. Sorry, raps a lot. I think that might have been culturally insensitive, but didn't mean to be.
He speaks fast in
Yes.
rhyme. Right, who's going first? Lucy, we started with you, didn't we? What have you
Yeah.
cracked open?
I've cracked open a beer. Naturally. Hold on. Sorry. You go first.
Aadil, what have you
Christ on
opened?
a fucking bucket, people. I'm having Christ on a bucket. No, I'm not. I'm having something from up your way.
I'd love it if a beer was cool.
I'm having a dig. Ain't much happening in the West Midlands. 5.4% stout from Dig Brewing.
Nice.
It contains glucan, but it is vegan, and the can is recyclable.
Always good.
No.
It's real hard to read the "Ain't not much happening in the West Midlands" title on the actual can.
That's on the front.
Yeah, that's the front.
Wow, that is really hard to read.
But luckily, in Gothic script and only slightly easier to read,
Yeah, I don't like the Gothic script.
is the title.
I think they do a
NME,
play.
very good.
Yeah.
Does that say NME?
It does. No, it says N9. It says Dick Brew Company 9.
Is it a collaboration?
I don't know. Command Machine.
It's
Focus
alright, yeah,
here.
9, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Well, there we go.
Anyway,
Good.
no flavor text. I kind of miss reading flavor text. What happened? What I miss? I missed
Lucy's errant paw that
Oh.
kind of possibly went everywhere.
did I miss
her
his throat?
face, as she realizes it's about to just destroy everything in its path.
Oh, it's just that I missed that. I was busy pouring.
Watch it on the archive.
Luckily, this is on YouTube.
This is a lively
Go
one.
to youtube.com/outoflive.
No, it's lots of numbers and letters.
Fuck. Oh, we haven't reserved a name. I'll fix that as Mr. Tech. Go to YouTube, look up Out of Lives Network, and then find this episode and watch Lucy's terrible porn.
Oh no, shit.
My pour wasn't great because you guys started laughing, and I was like, "Wait, what's going on?" So I have a bit extra head, but whoa, shit! Sorry, hold that up to the camera, Lucy.
This.
Yeah, that half head, half ear. Usually, I'm the asshole who does that, so I'm just happy it's not.
What is it, Lucy?
Okay, I can see now. It's called Double Triangles. It's a dipper from Garage Brew Co. I've been wanting to have a beer from Garage for a long time. It's got these little beetles on it. I don't know why. Let's have a look. It says it's a double IPA using Coastal Haze Ale blend yeast to highlight Mosaic and Brute hops. No, Brew-1 hops, sorry.
Mm.
Yeah, it's got Mosaic, Brew 1. That I can see, really. Yeah, I love garage beer, so really, really excited.
Every
Nice.
beer Ben has on the podcast is a garage beer.
And my garage beer, Garage, mate. UK Garage beer this
Garage.
week is another Northern Monk, Newer World IPA, 7.4%. So I'm assuming it's very similar to a New World IPA, one of the best supermarket beers you can get, but just a little bit bigger. Newer World India Pale Ale, a bigger, juicier take on our New World IPA with oats to accentuate mouthfeel and the finest tropical and piney US hops. It doesn't tell me what those hops... Oh, it does! There they are! Mosaic, Simcoe, Centennial and Chinook. It also has malted barley, oats, hops and yeast. Yeast.
Yeah, I just inhaled like some of the head on this and just had yeast. Choked me out.
Where are we going? Where are we? Who are we going back to first? Lucy, what's your beer like?
Man.
I don't know. It's very pretty.
Have you supped it yet, or have you just inhaled
No.
head?
I'm just
Whoa.
just inhaled
Trying
it.
to earn that goddamn explicit tag
But
there.
it smells, it smells beautiful. It smells of mango. Just pure mango puree it smells of.
Yeah?
It's got like a mango-y colour as well.
Hmm.
Slightly orange from this side. Very hazy. A little light bleed at the bottom, but yeah, mostly just hazy. Ooh, that's great. Definitely getting like those mango flavours immediately. Very fruity, very juicy, very tropical. It's quite light. You couldn't tell it's a dipper. See, I don't think I said the percentage, did I? It's 8.3%.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't tell that at all. It's so light, like light-bodied, not too malty, not too heavy. Yeah, I'll finish this almost immediately. It's got a nice bit of bitterness and pininess on the end. It's just perfectly balanced. It's Oh, oh, this is so good. It's like tastes like. I haven't had one of these in like about 10 years. It reminds me of Solero. That ice lolly, the flavour on that. It's got a like slightly creamy texture to it as well. That's very good. That's very good. I'm just gonna down it.
And dance. Just dance the rest of the episode and down your beer. Aadil, we'll come back to you.
All right. So it's been a while. I don't know if you can see the head is actually still like in the middle. It's quite
stuck around.
Quite thick head. Yeah. Oh, it's got nice roasted. Really light, actually quite light, but roasted notes. Definitely smells like a stout, but again, it's sort of. I was actually expecting something a little more strong. So it's just a generally light nose, but the nose itself is very stouty. It's got some roast notes. Nothing too burnt. Little sweetness. But again, kind of understated for a stout. So the notes are there, and what's there is a good solid stout balance. But the whole thing is like a step back from what I would have expected. It tastes like a good stout. I think I'm probably being betrayed by the 10% beer I had before. Feels a little watery. But it does have that thickness, that creaminess, that viscosity that we've talked time and time again about what we like in a stout.
Yeah.
Not too bitter. Again, it's kind of it's actually a little watery.
Yeah.
Especially in the finish of the mouthfeel. I think that's making me feel like it's lighter. So even though it's got this viscosity, it kind of ends quite light and doesn't dry you out. Again, it's just sort of a lighter taste than I was expecting. Might be because of the stronger beer beforehand, so I might change my tune in a little bit. But
yeah, fair.
It's a really good example of a stout. So you've got roasted but not burnt. Not a strong coffee or toffee. Again, it's just sort of kind of like what you're saying on your last beer, Ben. It's like a very simple single double note interaction. Still a good example of a stout, but there's not like a huge variety of tastes going on that you have to discern. It's kind of just like, this is a solid stouty taste. It's a little roasted but not burnt and everything, and it's just more understated than I thought, but quite good.
Was it a smaller can? Was it 330 ml?
Yeah, it's a wee one.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I've not seen any dig in smaller cans so far.
Yeah, there were a couple.
440s.
Yeah, it's kind of actually odd now seeing the usual suspects in a small can. You're like, but I thought you all, now that it's cheaper and affordable to make this, you just all went to this. But no. Yeah. Again, nice and straightforward. Really, it's quite tasty, but not a lot more to say. I will report back if things change.
Nice. Fair enough.
How about you?
The Newer World IPA. I mean, it's super similar to a New World IPA. It would have been interesting to have had them kind of side by side, or at least the New World first and then followed up by this. It does have a very similar kind of profile to it. I think the oats are just giving it a bit more of a thicker kind of mouthfeel. It's a little viscous. Doesn't quite edge on, when you have that viscosity with a little bit of a resinous kind of nature. It's a little bit sort of slick. Doesn't have that. It just feels a little bit thicker. A little bit sort of orange in colour. Again, the head is stuck around, as with the last Northern Monk beer. And it's doing a very similar thing to the It's Great Up North. In that I'm having it's not quite as carbonated as the last beer, but as soon as I sip it, the bitterness is, you know that the bitterness is there. But I'm getting a few tropical fruits, not a huge amount, maybe a little bit of orange. Something else in there as well. but kind of orange is maybe the flavour that sort of that pushes, and then that bitterness again comes back in and kind of rides you out to give you another sort of slightly piney finish to it. I don't know if this is much bigger than New World IPA. But without having them next to each other again, it's hard to judge, and I'm just going off of how I feel about that beer and when I drank it and my perception of what that is now. So it's hard to actually kind of compare. It does say a bigger, juicier take. I mean, I wouldn't say it's any juicier, but it is bigger. It does have a bigger flavour, and I think that's just because the everything is maybe just dialed up a little bit.
Right.
With the oats in there as well, it kind of lifts that texture, which maybe makes everything kind of stick around a little bit longer as well. I'm still getting now that bitterness and the sort of the citrusy orange is kind of still there. So the flavour is definitely bigger, but yeah, I don't know whether juicier is
appropriate.
It's kind of appropriate, exactly. I think it was about £3. It's
Nice.
7.4%, and it's a 440ml can. So if you're looking
value
at
right there.
I mean, so New World IPA for a 4-pack is $6.40, I think.
Okay.
Wow.
And they're
Yeah, really
330ml cans.
expensive.
So you're kind of juggling. 3 cans would be £9, which is probably similar. Equates
Don't
roughly to
juggle
the same.
3 cans.
Yeah, I probably couldn't fucking
Right.
juggle one, mate. So yeah, I mean it's good. I'm not sure whether I would pick this over just grabbing a 4-pack of New World IPA, knowing
So
I
it's
was
different,
just
but not sufficiently grand.
yeah, absolutely, and not massively, not really noticeable. I mean, New World IPA is a great introduction supermarket beer, which
Yeah, I mean, the
which
fact that
stands
it's
up.
in supermarkets is amazing, to be honest
Yeah,
to me.
absolutely. And Newer World, I think, maybe does things a little bit more, has a little bit of a bigger flavour. I don't know if it's sticking around or whether it's just part of this thing
Celebration
that
thing.
Morrison's have on. Craft beer year, week, month, I don't know. Just time. Craft beer time in Morrison's. But it'd be interesting to see if it does stick around. Obviously, with Tesco's massively kind of upping the things that they have in their stores and rotating things in and out, it's probably this sat next to New World IPA would be a good addition, just sat on the shelf to pick up. And if I thought to myself, oh okay, I'm hanging out with some friends this weekend, I'll grab a 4-pack of New World IPA to take with me, I'll grab 2 of these as well,
Right.
just to have tonight or tomorrow night. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's
I'm
all
not
I
bored
have
of your
to say.
conversation. But yeah.
That's
I'll,
fine.
I'll look out for that one.
Yeah.
You're fine.
I
Oh yeah,
don't
because
live
then
near
Morrison's only on. Yeah, the funny thing about my Tesco is that the best beers in there every time I go there.
The Tesco Express near my house is the one that the riots happened about because it was the first non-independent store on Stokes
Croft, yeah.
Road in ages.
What kind of
They
riots?
they didn't get
Was it like
any
people, like-
licensing, so they have to close at 7 every day of the week, and they don't serve alcohol.
Oh, that sucks.
Do they not?
Yeah, because it was so much furore that they couldn't get any of the standard licensing.
We say we say rioting. I mean, people took armchairs and just sat in the entrance so people couldn't go
Yeah.
in.
Because
Yeah,
I was thinking, I was
they
like,
smashed
what
some
kind of
windows.
riots?
Yeah,
they
Oh,
smashed some
okay.
windows. Yeah,
Smashing windows is
Bit more
and then
volatile.
people kind of
reasonably
danced.
riot
Lots of
adjacent.
people kind of just
Yeah.
danced.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's Bristol riots, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hippie riots.
It's not a real city's
They
riots.
made daisy chains. Yeah, because when you were talking about riots, I just thought about the riots that happened earlier. But
Yeah.
not quite.
I think
Like
there
I
was probably a lot more ketamine here during the Bristol riots than maybe people just sort of stood on the side of the street like. Anyway, let's move on as we drink our beers. Lucy,
Yes.
what do you want to talk about this week?
I finished Gears 5.
Oh yeah.
I think I like Gears 4 more, just for like the set pieces and stuff like that. And like the more bombastic, they added more weapons to Gears 5 and like different enemy varieties. Like a lot of the enemies and weapons in Gears 4 were in Gears 5, so they carried over. Like there's new additions like the grenade launcher Lancer, which is very fun. But like stuff like the buzzsaw and stuff like that in Gears 4 that they carried over, and it's like, yeah, this is just adding to what's already something very good. It was nice to see them like try and deviate and try and make that kind of semi-open world thing. And I know a lot of people have criticised it because it's like, yeah, there's not really much there. It's quite empty. You're literally just traveling from place to place in this open world, even though going on this skiff, it feels nice to control, but after a while it is just like, okay, we're just getting back on this thing and going to the next like hub.
Is it a bit kind of God of War-y where you can pick kind of, it is open world and you kind of go where you want, but you sort of, once you've gone there, it is almost a bit more corridor, a bit linear.
Absolutely.
Then you come back to the open world stuff,
Yeah, but I'd say God of War does it much better in the fact that it's much more dynamic and like how to get there, and it's like, the different water levels and stuff like that. Like places used to be like you can't get to there, and then you change the water levels. Like, yeah, I can get there now and stuff like that.
Does anyone in Gears go, boy?
No, not even Phoenix.
4 out of 5.
Phoenix. Yeah. But just doing like the side missions, I was happy to do them all because I knew it was like, okay, even though I know what's, we're just going to be funneled through this, get off the skiff, funnel through this place, and then fight a bunch of enemies. Every single encounter in that game is fun. It's
nice.
So much fun. It's probably the best third-person shooter that's been made. Like Gears just had that. It's attained it all these years, and it's still doing that.
Yeah. It has always sat with that kind of over it. Mechanically, it is always said that Gears has been the best third-person shooter.
Nothing feels better.
You can play
Yeah, it's just
never
so
got
much fun.
into it, but I only played a bit of the Gears 1 remaster on the Xbox, like a couple months before I gave up on using the Xbox.
Yeah, Gears 3 is still the best one for me, but these ones feel great. It's such a good-looking game as well. It's one of the prettiest that I've played on Xbox, certainly. Maybe, stuff like going back to God of War, they are GOWs. God of War. They're going for both realistic, but yeah, that seems better. But like, I liked. I'm not going to ruin the story, but like they kind of Wolfenstein the story, so it's like
Nazis.
Yes, Nazi locusts. But it's like, we made a big decision in this game which will probably affect completely affect like the narrative in other games going forward. So I'm interested to see how they tackle it. But yeah, it was nice seeing them trying to take a risk, maybe the comfort of this being in Game Pass and getting more eyes on it, and it's like, we'll get the money from subscriptions
already.
Yeah, it's crazy because I would have well bought this for like £60 anyway.
I mean, it seems like the standard strategy of flagship game, even a couple months later putting it on the free service to get more churn, but it's very strange to think doing that right away, or you're just not getting. I guess they're hoping people will subscribe to Games Pass instead, and it's a reasonable trade-off to hopefully keep up people in the long run.
Absolutely, that's inevitably what will happen.
Yeah,
especially if it's got single player and multiplayer, and like all the multiplayer suites are like in Game Pass. Like, I think you can just DLC, you can play Sarah Connor in the multiplayer. It's
There's
just
a Terminator thing as well, isn't there? Yeah.
I'm not going to play the multiplayer. I've never liked Gears multiplayer, even though it's a very. I don't like third-person multiplayer games. So I'm not going to play Horde. I'm not going to play whatever else is in there. I just love the single-player campaigns. Yeah, it's really good. Really recommend it, especially if you got Game Pass. Like, come on.
Why wouldn't you at this point?
Where does this? Is this the middle entry of a new trilogy?
I would assume
so. With 4?
Yeah, I'd assume like the next one is probably going to be, because the story on this one is sort of like harking back to Wolfenstein, like Wolfenstein New Colossus, the second one, where it's like, didn't expect that to end there, you know?
Yeah.
But they're clearly setting up for a third, what looks like to be a third and final chapter. So, yeah, I'm not really interested in the story that much. Like,
sure,
some people are like really into it. I'm like, okay, whatever. I just want to shoot like. Good. I do like. I'm not. It's not like I'm not like. It's not like I'm skipping cutscenes, but it's like the story is not the main draw for me. But I do enjoy the story. Like some of it was, some of it was quite emotional. And it was okay, but in terms of like where the overall narrative goes, it's not like I'm like champing at the bit to play the next game, which is inevitably going to come in like 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just like, that ended a bit, abruptly, but well, cool.
Right.
Yeah. It's a really good game.
Nice, good. And I would imagine with Xbox launching the next console in holiday 2020, as it's been touted, and Halo being a launch game, that actually a Gears game won't be that far away. Really, you'd expect that. Gears is a sort of, it is kind of like, a system seller is kind of a bit of a bum term now, especially with kind of day and date, Games Pass kind of games, but a Gears kind of game, you would think that people kind of jump on quite quickly, and they want to get something out within the first kind of 18 months of a new console kind of being out. So I know we're still kind of 14, 15 months away from a new console. So actually, that's still kind of 2.5-ish years to put something out, and new tech might push something a little bit further away, but
because this is the second Gears of this generation. It just doesn't seem it like. In the they seem to come and go like Gears games. It's like, but they are a tentpole franchise. You just never think it, because I'm sure like on Xbox 360, like Gears outsold like Uncharted like by tenfold.
Yeah, I imagine so.
So it's like it's just, I don't know, maybe the Gears like community, they just love Gears. They play the multiplayer, and then you just never hear from them again because they're still playing multiplayer for 5 years. But it's just one of those things that even I thought, like, the last Gears came out, I think in 2016 or something like, and I was like, I don't know, or was it 2015? I can't remember. But it was like, I felt, do I need a new Gears game? But it's like, when you start playing it, it's like, yes, I needed a new Gears game because they're so good. I don't know. It's just one of the. I think they're maybe not underappreciated, but like undersold. Like just we should emphasize that these are the best third-person shooters, like, and they still are, and they've been doing that for over a decade now. So it's very good.
Saying that, I thought I'd try and find the numbers for sales for Gears, because I would have absolutely said that Gears has outsold Uncharted. This was posted. Oh no, when was this actually posted? It doesn't tell me.
Oh, the internet.
Oh, I need an actual date.
Just say it anyway. We'll just guess it.
That doesn't help.
By the writing.
No. It says that Gears of War, by the numbers, 1 billion gross revenue, 45 million unique users, 27 million copies sold.
As a franchise overall.
Right, I mean, that won't include 5. I don't know if this includes 4. But the post after it gives no information and just says, "Oh, so Uncharted outsold Gears of War." A bit of a surprising fact.
Really?
I've got no more facts. I've got no more facts. I've got no actual facts.
Yeah.
I've got nothing really past that random post that I've sort of seen. There's Microsoft are a little bit. They hold back their sales figures.
Oh no, this generation they have.
Yeah. Things like Game Pass and stuff do. Obviously, it makes it a little bit more.
Users.
So you can't have kind of like revenue anymore versus concurrent users versus download. The amount of unique users who have downloaded it. Those sorts of numbers are kind of more what you're looking for, really. So it's hard to actually find some kind of number.
From a reputable source, what those two franchises look like together.
Yeah,
they are like single player. They've both got multiplayer, but like here's a single player focused like tentpole system seller.
Yeah,
but they're the poster boys of the each console. So.
I mean, absolutely. And so an article in the MVC, which I think is from September this year, must have been just after Gears came out, does say that despite Borderlands 3 outgunning Gears 5 at retail, Gearbox's sequel has outsold the Coalition's second Gears game by more than 4 times, albeit across all platforms. Gears 5 has reportedly set new records, giving its free rollout to Xbox Game Pass and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscribers. Thanks to the incredible support from our fans, Gears 5 attracted over 3 million players in its opening weekend and set new records for Xbox Game Pass with the biggest launch week of any Xbox Game Studio title this generation. And that's from an Xbox press release.
That's like those are impressive numbers.
Yeah.
But it's just such a apples to oranges. It's like, this is such a low barrier of entry, like signing up for £5 versus going to buy a £60 game. So because when you hear like GTA sold 1 million in its first day, and that's like incredible. Like 3 million in its opening weekend. That's pretty damn good as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's
staggering numbers, but it's like, is it the same? Like, how many of those people would have converted into like actual like users and purchasers from like a brick and mortar store? So
yeah, completely. It's all about it is all about those numbers. It's all about Microsoft understanding that yes, Games Pass is a fantastic service, but where is that balance? Like, what are we what loss do we have by offering this? And people being able, how much have you actually spent, Lucy, on Games Pass?
Not a lot.
Because I know you managed to blag like £1 here and £1 there.
I always used to do the pound thing, and it's like now I've got it until March 2021, and I probably paid like overall like an extra £30.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like, but it's like me. I'm a heavy Xbox user. There are people who probably never even turned it on this generation for good reason, and then suddenly now they're giving Xbox. They've done the numbers that they're fine. They're earning bank. They're fine. They're like, this is even more money. Bill Gates is a happy man, so it's fine.
But I think that's why Microsoft can do this as well, because they're making enough money in other areas. They can kind of, even if Games Pass doesn't give them a loss as such, but if it even breaks even, they're okay.
It's more than breaking even. You hear all the time that people are playing more games, buying more games on Xbox because of that. They've just got an upswing, and this is, this will have a lot of mind share.
Yeah.
And in terms of subscription things.
Speaking of, just to compare it, hang on, sorry,
yes.
just to compare it back with Uncharted. Uncharted 4 sold over 2.7 million units within the first 7 days of release.
Yeah.
So Gears up on that just a little bit. So Gears 5 at least, up on that just a little bit. Yeah. 3 weeks after release, the game had grossed a bit of money in digital sales, and by December 2016, the game had sold 8.7 million. By May 2019, which is the last date on here, the game had sold 15 million copies.
I think it's just like, because I'm remembering like when Xbox and PlayStation, like last generation, released figures, it was just, diminutive compared to those numbers. But I think it's just like so many more people are playing games.
Absolutely.
And that's why it probably seems like, but it's like comparatively,
yeah,
like that's probably still 10% of the user base of like PlayStation.
And this is exactly, and that's the thing. Like this is something that we talked about before, like unit sales and stuff. And I remember we talked about Horizon, and kind of like that unit sales. And so, just as a very, very quick comparison, again, Horizon is a third-person sort of shooter, ish. Horizon, as of this is an article from February 2019. As of that time, it has sold over 10 million copies. Doesn't give me an exact figure. That might be 10,200,000, or I would imagine if it was over 11 million, they'd have said over 11 million. But yeah, it hit the 2 million, the 10 million, mark after 2 years. So even then, we're talking about 10% of like the install base.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting if Microsoft do put out some updated figures to say Gears 5 has, okay, it hasn't sold this many, but we have had this many players, and whether that would have equated to that many sales, whether people have gone, I'm not really a Gears fan, but yeah, sure, I've got Game Pass, I will play it, I'll download it and see. I can't see Game Pass going anywhere for a long time, but at some point Microsoft got to be thinking, okay, we need to kind of see what we're doing with this, and we've got a fantastic offering. What can it do for us?
Convert those people into like, now they're buying not their first party titles, but these new, like the Division 3, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, Wildlands, Breakpoint, 46. Origins, Odyssey, 25, and all this. Yeah, that's probably what the end game is, getting numbers up on those third parties.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, speaking of subscription services, I bought a new iPad to play Apple Arcade. It's been doing very well. Yeah. It's so good. Speaking of value, it's really good. Like I mean, I'm still on my month free trial, but £5 a month is an absolute steal. Games that are, games that would be coming to and have come to like other platforms, like Sayonara Wild Heart. This is on PS3.
Man, that's free on Apple Arcade.
Yes, it's so good.
Really Apple Arcade, they like swept up all the small tiny games that you can play on these devices.
Because like the first time I saw that game, I was like, I have no idea what this is, but this looks cool.
Yeah.
And then I saw it was from Simogo, who have made like Device 6, Yearwalk, really good pedigree on mobile. I was like, because I think it was first announced on Switch, and I was like, that looks cool. But yeah, that's a cool game. It's like I wouldn't say it's a rhythm game as such. It's sort of like a musical audio visual experience where you're playing as this girl who's going against these like astrological humans that are like interpretations of the astrological like signs, and then you're like bikes, and sometimes you're on a skateboard, and then on a stag just running. It's a
stag.
Weird. Yeah, I'm like a deer.
I'm fucking
just
sorry,
running.
mate. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just, and it's got the music isn't like something I'd probably listen to, but it's like it just works so well with like all these crazy things happening on screen, and I played on iPad. It's a new iPad, so this is probably why it ran pretty well. But I connected the controller, seamless, just Bluetooth, easy as you go. And it's just like, because I probably wouldn't want to play with like a touchscreen on this because it's such a like visual experience. Wouldn't want my finger like swiping over the screen and missing the action. So controller is probably the way to go with this, but you can connect to Xbox or PlayStation. I did Xbox obviously but it's weird, but it's an experience. It's about an hour and a half as you go through like these different tracks, and then it just like sort of turns into like Space Harrier, and then there's like almost an Undertale boss like level, and it's like it's just weird. And the animation's great. It's beautiful. Like it's seamless how it transfers into you're doing what are they called, QTEs for like combat, and then moving from side to side, different lanes, collecting like these hearts which add to your score. And I'm terrible at this game, so I only got 1 gold ranking out of like the 20 levels. And Queen Latifah narrates it, and she says like,
"Really?
Silver ranking? Yeah, it's Queen Latifah." Like, I don't know what this game is or where it came from. Or someone had a vision and they executed perfectly on it. Basically, they were
it's
like,
published by Annapurna.
Yeah, I have these psychedelic neon dreams about these fighting biker gangs to like the astrological signs and getting swords out, and then bikes, and then going on skateboards floating through the sky, and then they just did it, and it's like, this works so well. Can't say what it is. There's no genre for this game, but it's really good.
Nice. Talking about like the price of Apple Arcade, it is on PlayStation £9.50.
Oh, there you go. I've earned my money back by £9. It's still a free trial, but even if I'd paid £5, I've earned it back double fold. Yeah, it's really good. It's a really good game. What else have I played on there? I've played What the Golf.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, I'm jealous of that game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you played it at EG. We were at last.
I haven't been on EGX since the time I got knocked out.
Yeah, so it's been a while, but it was at EGX. it was at EGX last year, and it's just it's a physics-based, in inverted commas, golf game. It's golf, but it's like you're just flicking whatever you're shooting. It could be a golf ball. It could be the golf, like the wedge itself. It could be you're flicking the hole. You could be flicking the golfer. You could be flicking a soccer ball. It just subverts completely the concept of a golf game. Immediately you just put into it, and it's like, oh, okay, I'm playing golf. I get par or something, and then it just completely switches it up. It's like, okay, now I'm flicking, and I'm actually hitting the golfer into the hole. It's like, nice. Oh, now I'm hitting a soccer ball into a goal and stuff like that. And it seems like it would just be a gimmick. When I played it at EGX, I really enjoyed it. Like, I only got to play like a set number of levels, but this, I never expected it. But it goes into like overworld. They're in this overworld to get to the new levels, and then all these different sections, they keep surprising you. They keep throwing new mechanics at you. It's just surprising all the way through. It took me about 5 hours to complete. And I never stopped laughing, never stopped being surprised by it.
Nice.
They like let's say like Guacamelee, where they're referencing different games or something like that. And it's just like a reference, and it's just like a hollow joke. This game not only references other games, but they use mechanics from other games, and it's not in like a cheap, gimmicky way. It's in an interesting, not just a homage, but an appreciation, and then just a complete new reinterpretation of that mechanic in that game. Like, there's a whole like world dedicated to like super hot levels. So it's like when you're flicking the ball, it's like,
that's amazing.
Yeah, and it's like when you're and like Portal and stuff like that. I won't say any more to I don't want to ruin the surprise, but it's like, okay, when you're flicking the ball only, time only moves when the ball moves and stuff like that, and it just works really well.
Nice.
And each level has like two extra levels, like 2 extra difficulty levels. So to complete the game 100%, you have to complete, 3 levels per like different idea, and like every level is like a new and different idea. And then like some of the extra levels can be like, oh, you have to, under par or something, like within 3 shots, or it could be something completely different to that mechanic, involving that mechanic. So it's just like, there's so many levels, there's so many different ideas floating about. I don't know who made this game. Was it like 100 people who just had 100 different ideas? It's like, to keep something that something like that, like all centered around like you just flicking your. It's just, I didn't need a control to play this. It's just like touch screen, just to keep evolving that mechanic and evolving that ideas in new, fresh, interesting,
really
funny
understanding
ways.
the breadth of the input. And seeing what you could do with it.
For 5 hours, and it never got bored, never got tiring. And I didn't get some like didn't complete 100%. I think I completed about 80%, because some of those other levels get really hard.
Disappointment.
Yeah, it's great. I want to say more, but I shouldn't, just in case.
Yeah. That's
I
fine.
mean, it's not on Android yet, as far as I know.
No,
Yeah, I just had a look.
yeah.
It's not there.
Yeah. I mean, because I've been hearing about it
exclusive,
on various parts of the internet, and I've been like, oh, I want to play this game.
Is it anywhere else?
I think it might be on Epic, but I definitely recommend playing it with like a touch
It's
screen.
on Steam, and I have it on my wish list, but I also
I think it might have
don't
come
want
out
to
on
play
Epic,
it
though.
on a computer.
No, this is like you need to play this on a touch interface.
Oh, and also, it's not out until 2020. It's just on Steam as a like placeholder.
I think maybe is that a Epic
Let me check it,
exclusive? I can't remember.
That's alright. I can have a very quick look, as long as my machine doesn't explode as I'm opening up Epic. It's already open. Just fucking open.
I have my laptop beside me, so that maybe that would be.
But I think those two are the highlights. I'll just quickly run through.
Cool. That's
what
very good.
else I played.
I mean, but even then, for as a free trial, or for £5, like you must spend more than £5 a month on games.
I would have bought all these games full price regardless. So
yeah,
it's $15.99 on Epic.
Yeah,
but it is out
and available. Okay.
Yeah. I'll just quickly. I played something called the Get Out Kids. It was like a very strange, like isometric, like diorama point and click game. Weird narrative. It didn't really make sense. It's like, this should be for kids, but some of this stuff seems like borderline offensive that you saw.
Okay.
I played something called Tint, which is a color-based puzzle game. It also has a colorblind mode, which is cool. But it's like,
nice.
Okay, we need to make this thing green. Here's blue and yellow. You draw a line. Blue and yellow go over there. Sometimes they'll put like, oh, you can't put, you move the blue through this yellow streak, and then it makes green. And then here's this other obstacle, and it's like very cool, chilled out, 50 levels. I think more are coming, like color-based puzzle game. It's great because it's like, was it Tuesday? I was just listening to a podcast. I was just listening
Tuesday.
Tuesday. It's a good one. I was listening to a podcast and I was like, oh, I'm just listening to a podcast. I feel like playing a game, something that's like low impact, don't have to concentrate too much. Just fired up Apple Arcade, and I was just like, oh, someone said Tint was good. Just fired up Tint, completed it before the podcast was over, and it's like, could just try it out for the low cost of nothing, or £5. The last one I played was Pilgrims. It came out, was it on Sunday? Or at least I saw it on Sunday. Because I was like, oh, what's this game? It just dropped on Apple Arcade. And I was like, oh, it's from Amanita Design. Like, one of my favourite developers. Like, they made Machinarium and the Samaros games and stuff like that. They make really good point and click adventures and stuff like that. I was like, oh, this just dropped. Started playing it, completed it that day. It's about an hour and a half. Really cool, like, it's like a traditional point and click game, but instead of like items in your inventory, you're getting like cards, and it's like, oh, these cards can be played at any time. So like you're getting a card for like, I don't know, a like bucket, like a pail. It's like, oh, I could use this bucket, give it to this person. There'll be an animation. It's like, oh yes, you used this bucket correctly, or they threw it back at you. Or I take out this card and it's pail, and it's like, oh, I put it on this screen. It's like, oh yes, they fill it full of water. Go to the next screen, and there's like a campfire. Put the pail there, and it's like, oh yes, you start cooking that water and stuff like that. But it's like a traditional point and click adventure game, but it's a slight twist on it where you get like a deck of cards. It's like slight twist to it, but it's doing the same things. But yeah, it was a pleasant experience. About an hour and a half. In fact, probably something about 45 minutes. But I kept on playing because you can see like different. You can get different achievements. Game Center back apparently.
Nice.
But yeah, such good value.
Nice.
Just be like,
good.
oh, this dropped. I'll play that. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the subscription service thing is starting to die in, or at least it's hitting problems in like movie TV show land because everyone wants a piece of it. But it's pretty nascent in gaming, so I think this is the time to do things like PlayStation Now or Apple Arcade, because also we've never had that strong line from studio to customer that you have in movies and TV shows. So it might be that the studios just don't have the ability to then try and make their own version of the service. So I think I think gaming is going to have this golden age of one or two really strong streaming services, and that's it.
Yeah.
In a way that like movies and TV shows, because of capitalism and just the ability of companies to invert this, are now we're like losing that golden age of streaming and getting to a place where now it's all bifurcated. If you like three shows which happen to be on three different studios or companies, you need three different streaming services.
Yeah,
I think probably will dodge that on the streaming level for a while in video games.
Well, there's so many limited platforms, to be honest. Like, yes, there's Google Stadia out there, but it's like Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo, and they're not going to want to splinter their audience, be like saying, okay, here's PlayStation Now, here's PlayStation Now Plus, here's PlayStation yesterday, PlayStation tomorrow. Yeah. PlayStation
versus a web browser is a web browser is a web.
Yeah. It'll just be PlayStation Plus, and that will come with PlayStation Now.
We have a bifurcated market on platform, or bifurcated, I mean split. Obviously, it's not just
because
I know what Y means.
Because I think that's what Xbox have tried to do. Game Pass, I think that's just games like Game Pass, as well as games Xbox Live Gold. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Just I don't know why they'll just call it Xbox All. I'm sure. But yes, very good. I'm currently playing something called Tangle Tower, which is
cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I don't have a segue to move into Aadil's topic this week, unless it's about subscription services.
It's not. Well, it kind of is. It's about a game.
What?
We both played due to our subscription to PlayStation Plus.
I was like, oh, Aadil played a game. I was so excited. And I was like,
you should have predicted this was my topic. It's so Ben and I last Saturday night both downloaded MLB 19 The Show and tried to figure the fuck out of that game when I kind of knew the rules of baseball and Ben did not know the rules of baseball, and neither of us have ever played an MLB game, let alone an MLB The Show game.
Yeah, absolutely.
The last baseball game I played on any platform was baseball on the NES.
Super Mega Baseball.
Nope, didn't play that one. Just
I
baseball
think
on the NES.
I think that's an arcadey like indie game. That was
Yeah.
alright, but
I'm trying to think of baseball players and their names on games, but I got no idea. I don't know any fucking baseball players.
Was Babe Ruth baseball?
Yeah?
The Madden of Baseball
why not?
baseball game.
Daryl Strawberry.
Man,
Everyone who was in that.
Daryl Strawberry is a
Everyone who was
football
in that
player. No, he's a
Simpsons-
baseball player.
Everyone who was in that.
Wait.
Simpsons-
What's the song?
Sammy Sosa and Mark McGuire. They had that big home run showed off in the late 2000s, early 90s, or late 90s, early 2000s.
What is it? Softball? No.
Um,
Let me get up the lyrics.
They're
I
playing baseball.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah,
That's
I'm real glad
UK's
that
biggest
I'm
exposure
last
to
as a topic
baseball.
because
Yeah, absolutely.
This sloppy section is exactly the idea of sloppiness we had.
I mean, yeah, this mimics perfectly well how we played.
And we weren't drunk. We just didn't know the fuck was going on. So we did stream it on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/Out of Lives Network.
From Maine to San Diego.
I'm really
Ken
bad at
Griffey's
remembering.
grotesque swirling.
Ken Griffey Jr. There we go.
And he's running with the law.
What's the guy where he's got sideburns and Mr. Burns is like, shave off those sideburns. And he's shaving like as much as he possibly can. And he keeps telling him to shave off his sideburns.
Ozzy and the straw.
I mean, this is exactly how the stream went.
Yeah,
It was just
less laughter and more frustration.
Oh.
So I will
Because
say,
I watched some of it and I said to you, like, I was like, the technical issues were more interesting than the game.
by technical issues, you mean us not knowing the fuck we were doing? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think by the end of it, we figured out how pitching works and how batting might work if you pitched to not fuck with the person.
Yeah.
We learned enough about pitching to be like, if I wanted it to make this pitch work down the middle, this is what I would do. And I learned, but Ben did not, how to hit those hits. But also functionally, if we both didn't do that thing, the one thing we learned, we would strike out the other person more competently. So, the entire learning progress was not useful, except to make it more likely that your opponent is going to score.
Absolutely. I think we had maybe 5 runs between us over 3 games.
Like 9.
Okay.
So you had 3 or 4 in your first one. I had 4 in one or 3 in one, and then I think there's a couple in the last one. I can't remember.
Isn't baseball like NFL and it takes like 7 hours to play one?
Baseball's way worse than NFL.
No.
So the
Those
basic
Americans
premise.
live their life. I know they're just getting drunk and eating hot dogs,
Well,
but come on, that's even
But
too
baseball's special, right? Because baseball is America's pastime, and you'll notice that doesn't mean it's described as a sport.
America's hobby.
But if we actually planned our pitches and swings correctly, it would have been so much longer because each person can get, if it's not within the strike zone, i.e. where the catcher's mitt is, it's a ball. 4 balls, and the person walks to the base as if they had hit. If it is in the strike zone, you get 3 of those. So potentially every batter can have 7 pitches. And then each inning is 3 outs per side.
Yes.
So that's 42 potential pitches per inning and 9 innings.
My only concept of baseball is that Simpsons episode,
Yeah.
Recess, and stuff. Fuck. So I have no idea what you're talking
But
about.
so I will say,
I had no idea either.
there might have been a tutorial that might have helped,
Might
but it
have
was just
been.
actually like real complicated. Like there was a lot going on there, like push triangle to pick your pitch, and then it just gave you this like thing that you're like, can I use the stick to move the ball? Well, yeah, but then the thing I'm looking at disappears, and I don't know if I'm throwing like 7 feet to the left or in the zone. Like, there's a lot of cues that just... There's a lot of things that didn't have good visual cues and feedback.
Yeah. I think that's like quite a good point to like these games, because like, is it Sony San Diego?
Yes.
Games, and they churn them out. Not churn them out in a bad way, but it's like such a short dev cycle, and they do a good job every time.
Yeah, it's a yearly cycle, yeah.
Yeah, and they're like really rated highly. And that's because like people who like baseball and do baseball, unlike us who are just completely ignorant to it, it works well as a simulation and just as a game. But it's like how I felt like about there was a 2011 World Cup rugby game, and I really liked it. Rugby games are notoriously bad, but I found that was actually a decent one. But it's like, if someone didn't know how to play rugby or know the rules of it, I don't know if it did a good job like tutorializing it, because I played it with other people, and I'm just like, throw to the blind side, and they're like, blind side. Like, you know, I used to play it with other people, and like they would have no idea, and I don't know if it would have tutorialized that. Teaching the game of rugby is hard enough, let alone in a video game.
Yeah.
So it's like, maybe that's the same with this game. It's very good for people who know baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. I would think so.
Newcomers.
Yeah. So a few things. I mean, obviously, I want to talk about how we're just rubbish, and I actually think our Twitch channel might have the fucking 2.5-hour non-edited garbage stream that we did there. So if you want to fast forward to some interesting parts, there might be a couple. But like, so I did want to talk about this initial, like, how easy it is to pick up. Not. Even if I knew baseball, which like my last partner played softball all her life. And, when we lived in Halifax, we played softball. I joined the team after a season, so I know the rudimentary, like softball and baseball. The pitching style is different, but the basic moves are the same. And so, but even then, it was like, what the fuck's going on with this game? And so, like I said, some of the things were like, so on the batting side, it says, guess the pitch. And you push a button, and it reveals you a menu, and you pick one of the 4 face buttons and say, I think it's one of these. So the pitcher has either 4 or 5 pitches, and they push a button to do that. And then when you hit the guess button, you get the same sort of button layout saying, which pitch do I think they're doing? And then if that is the case, the ball will flash on the way, so you can read it better instead of just a white thing coming towards you. Of course, I'm really terrible, so it's like, oh yeah, it's a white thing, it flashes, it's clearly not coming towards me, I'm still hitting swing. I'm bad at that game objectively. But but it has no confirmation that you've done that.
No,
and if you let go, so it's hold right trigger, R2, and then it gives you the menu, you push a button, and you're like, and the menu doesn't go away until you let go of R2. So you have no idea whether it's like the button press worked. But also, if you hit the right trigger and then let go of it for pushing a button, you can no longer hit R2 again. You just lost your chance to do that. But because of these two facts together, you're like, R2, triangle, let go of both. Oh shit, did it register triangle? Who the fuck knows? Because it's not telling me which one I've guessed. Fuck that. Why would we have a responsive and informative UI? Joke's on you. And then the pitch comes to you, and you're like, okay, I don't know if that was a fastball or not. I don't know if I fucked up guessing, and so I didn't get the flashing ball, and it's a fastball. Or it was a fastball, and I fucked up inputting. But also, we know if I'm playing Ben, he's probably not going to do 2 fastballs in a row. So I should guess a different ball. Except I don't know if my guess on the fastball worked. So I don't fucking know anything that happened. Like, it's terrible, terrible.
It was very, very random. Everything felt super random.
Yeah.
All the time.
And then on the pitching side, you get the like square, which is like the mitt of the catcher. And you sort of have this hovering outline of a ball, but then you use the left trigger and it starts vibrating to tell you you're moving it. But if you're sometimes on certain pitches, you're out of the frame, and suddenly from a red trace line of the ball, like 2 lines tracing to an icon of a ball, signifying presumably the path. But then if I pull it out of frame on certain pitches, it turns blue, which seems to suggest I should be aiming that way. But also, after a couple of seconds, that all disappears, but the stick still has vibrational input.
Yeah.
So then you're like, oh, maybe I don't want to be in zone, so I can drag it back and the vibration's going better. But also, I have no idea where I've put the ball now. Like, it's asinine. It was really hard. So the reason why we griped so much about, is this working? Am I pitching right? What does it mean to pitch? Is because the visual cues aren't there, but also the things that are there don't last.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on?
You need to put
And
it
the
on
last-
baby mode.
Yeah. So the last thing is, we went into default exhibition mode.
Alright.
We just used the default options and flags.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a little bit about baseball, and I was consistently confused about how fast innings were going. Because I'm like, I swear, you pitched once or twice, and suddenly have been struck out, and that's actually impossible. 2 pitches can never throw someone out unless you hit the ball and it's caught.
Strike! I know they say
Because
that.
it needs to be 3 strikes, you're out. That's the rule. If I hit the ball and it's caught in the air, I'm immediately out. If I don't, I get 3 chances. And it turns out one of the stupid options as default is like for quick play or something. And I guess it just assumes you're playing so badly that guy, like, you get 2 strikes on a strike. Like, it made no sense. It just suddenly like, yeah, I guess he's out. Oh, it was 3 strikes. You're like, he threw it once or twice. Like, fuck you.
Yeah,
game.
we couldn't work out whether it was charting things as like cumulative and taking like, oh, that person had 2 strikes previously, but someone else was run out, so that was your 3rd out. So actually, he's still got 1 ball. He's still got 1 strike left. And next time he comes up to bat, and you struck him out, so he's gone on like ball number 1. Like we couldn't work out if that was the case versus the game just fast forwarding and deciding for us. Like, yeah.
But I
had no
can't
idea.
remember the flag, but on our last game, I was like, I'm flipping this flag, and suddenly we're getting fucking 3 strikes or 4 balls. And I'm like, okay, now I can at least understand what's going on in it. But when you're trying to grapple with this terrible UI, and you're like, I vaguely know the rules of baseball, and then you're like, well, actually, that guy's out. You're like, wait, what? And then you're like, wait, the inning's over. Like, Ben throws me like 4 to 5 pitches, and suddenly the entire inning's over. I'm like, that's impossible by the rules. How am I done playing right now? And Ben's like, I don't know, maybe it's cumulative. I'm like, that's not how the game works. I know this much about baseball. Why is it doing this? I'm trying.
Maybe
to
that's
figure out-
modern baseball.
Oh yeah.
Maybe they changed it just for MLB The Show.
Yeah. But I mean, I think it speaks to, like you saying, like, the people who play these games are the ones who've played this for long enough that, like, you don't even have to do good UI because they've had it for 5 years, so they know what that vibration on the left stick
90%
means.
of the audience. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nobody's
absolutely.
gonna be like, oh, I feel like playing a baseball game today. Let me go buy this new
But
baseball game.
I do think, at the very least, on your default exhibition mode, default to the standard rules, or at least, again, have something on your UI that says, I'm assuming this guy struck out. But there's nothing. The announcer's like, oh, I guess he struck out. And you're like, that was the 2nd pitch.
I really want someone to go to that art and just overlay the Simpsons talking song to your whole stream.
I will say that when we were struggling to
Ozzy
figure out
and the Show.
figure out the rules, it was super. The announcers got so goddamn annoying in the way.
Yeah,
of,
absolutely, they did. Yeah, they really did.
like cussing you out on like, oh, that guy doesn't doing. He's swinging
Yeah, just
in
giving
it.
us, giving us shit. Like, oh, he's rubbish. Oh,
Yeah.
brilliant, thanks.
But also, it's like, well, I guess he struck out there. I'm like, I didn't fucking struck out. Like, you saying it has made me strike out. I only swung twice. Anyway, MLB The Show 19 or whatever
You're
the fuck
playing
it's
it
called,
on
this
New Game
garbage.
Plus. Where it's strikes.
It assumes we've played 16, 17, 18, and now 19.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
at least NES baseball gave you 3 strikes.
You see,
So
the games
even
back
if you
then
have
were
PS
just
Plus,
better.
I would recommend not downloading this game or playing it. And maybe just acknowledge that if you're a fan of baseball, you could be a fan of better things.
Oh!
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
He's not wrong, but give.
I think I'd rather watch NFL than baseball.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'd
Yeah.
much rather watch NFL than I would baseball. But then I'd
And
rather
I'd
watch
rather-
NBA. So
And I'd rather like
Watch paint
suck on
dry.
a car battery than watch any of those
Wow.
things. Like,
Thought I went for it. Then
what a good place to finish for this week. Let's roll back around to the beers that we drank. Lucy, we started with you. So, what about the beers you drank? Did you like them?
the Randy Pitchford's Bandit Brew.
Right.
It's not very good.
That's a
No, it's
completely
alright.
different drink.
Oof.
Oh.
I actually think that's the second line in a court case.
Nah, they settled that.
Don't worry.
That was okay. It was nice. It was better than I thought it'd be. They packed a lot of flavour into a 2.8% beer, so fair enough.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it was light, but it had a bit of fruitiness, bit of resinousness to it. But I mean, it was never going to compare to the double triangle from Garage.
Right.
That was
Yeah,
just a standout double IPA, like fruity all the way through. Had a nice pininess to it. It was full. It was soft. It was everything that you want from a double IPA. Not too. What's the word? Not too full. Not too heavy. Not just packed full of malt. It was very well balanced. Had the bitterness. Had the fruitiness. It was just good. It's
Nice.
very good. It's probably one of the best beers I've had. It is certainly all
Oh,
week
wow.
because I've been drinking
Nice.
this.
Good.
Gin.
Solid.
Yeah, it's very good. Seek it out. Seek out any garage beer and you'll be happy.
Yeah, they're good.
That's
They're
fair.
good.
They're really good.
Mm.
A small winner today. Double triangles.
Excellent. Aadil, how about you?
Oh.
Mm.
They're both reserved beers for what they're doing.
Right.
Which we all know that I like really taste forward beers, especially ones that do different things. And these were both like from what you expect from a 10% double IPA or a 5.4% stout. They're both a bit step back, a little more reserved, and they also just are doing what they do in sort of one or two taste notes, which is fine. It's just sort of not what I generally seek out. But I'm gonna say the edge is on the Half Acre beer.
Yeah.
Deep Space. I realized I think I said stars because I'm
Yes.
real bad at reading these garbage letters. But that's an S, a P, an A, a C, and an E.
That
And I
could
kind of
be
just made it up.
I'm,
But like, you see how this could be like
Yeah.
a T
Yeah.
and
that
then
could
like
be
an
a
R and an S.
That looks like spade to me.
Yeah. So the Deep
Or
Spade
strong.
double IPA Half Acre. I think the edge on that was there was some. I like that it didn't taste like 10%. I like that, like it's actually kind of hard to do that reservedly in the sense of one or two taste notes are not super strong. The resinous note and the creaminess were something I haven't seen or tasted before, sort of in tandem. And again, although there were only a couple things going on, it just sort of gripped me a little more. I didn't finish it before I started the dig. Ain't much happening in the West Midlands stout, and then when I switched back, I was like, yeah, I like this a little.
that's fine.
But I guess my biggest complaint on the stout was, yeah, again, I want a fucking taste forward stout, and I get that that's just me. If you don't want that, then you'll probably be really happy with this. But it just didn't do enough. It was just too reserved for my taste.
Yeah. You want a stout that blows your socks. This is all or nothing with, you know?
Yeah. That's
I like
fair.
the
That's
punch you
fair.
in the face stout.
And the high
I mean-
percentages are the only one.
So for me, I think it's my second beer. I think it's the Newer World IPA from Northern Monk. It's very similar to a New World IPA, which is a beer I really like. It is a little bit bigger. It gives you a bigger hit of similar sort of flavours, big sort of piney end, nice bitterness to it. It's Great Up North from Northern Monk was nice, a little bit easier. Still had that bitterness, even for a lighter beer, and I mean, I only cut through with that very lemony citrus note, kind of sweeping in through that bitterness. But the Newer World IPA was definitely a bit more complex, I suppose. Gave me a little bit more, was a big flavour. Yeah, it's a bigger beer as well, 7.4%. So you kind of expect it, but it matches New World IPA quite well. And as you know, yes, not juicier, but it is bigger. And that's nice on occasion when you're happy to drink, a similar beer every week, in something like a New World IPA, to have something that is giving you more is nice on occasion, absolutely. So I think that just picks it for me this week. So if you want to talk to us about beers and games, or anything that you like, you can get us all at Tanked Upcast on Twitter or on Instagram. Aadil, how do people talk to you?
You can also email us at tankedupcast@gmail.com.
No emails, thank you.
You can talk to me at the Omniarch on all of the things except Twitch, where I'm the _Omniarch. But it seems like the only time I've streamed on Twitch is on Out of Lives Network.
Oh yeah, I was about to say, whose channels is that guy?
But also, if you noticed that I was not paying attention at the point, it's because I was figuring out how to change our YouTube channel to be youtube.com/Out of Lives
That's
Network,
what you did.
which it now is.
I thought you had frozen for a while, and I was like, no, he's
Just like
Just doing something, yeah.
okay.
just being a
support
tech
over there.
bro.
Tech bro.
Hey, tech bro. Lucy,
Yes.
how do
it's
people talk to you?
Juice9 everywhere. Xbox, PlayStation,
Switch. Special account.
yeah, everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, all those fun things.
Nice. Sticking a few beers up on Untapped still as well.
No, recently I started, but I'd been dormant on there for some time.
Yeah.
Still dormant on Instagram.
If you
Just
have me on
PlayStation,
Untapped,
Steam.
just delete me.
I
I've deleted the app and never gonna use it.
2012.
Yeah.
Yeah, now and then, if it's like, I probably put this garage beer on then, because it's like, yes, I want to remember the good stuff.
So it's kind of like a curated, like top of your picks. sort
Yeah,
of
because
thing.
all I've been drinking recently is Founders, because there's no good beer where I am, and Founders is the best. And,
That's fair enough.
That's why I've resorted to Prosecco and gin.
Nice. That is
Yeah,
fair
so-
enough. Good. If you want to talk to me about anything, I'm at Nova_47 almost everywhere. You can also go to outoflives.net to look at other reviews, opinion pieces, articles, listen to other podcasts, watch various. We haven't posted the MLB video up on the website. I think I might have linked the Greedfall videos from a little while ago up on the site, so you can go there to see
Also,
lots of
this
different
next
stuff.
act is off hiatus, and we're back on weekly.
I mean, it
That
wasn't
pop up.
ever on hiatus.
I mean,
but the
the last
podcast
episode that we published with Marge, it was on
Wow,
hiatus.
was it really?
Yeah,
No, it
something
wasn't
like
that long ago.
Real bad.
Hell.
Oh,
Doesn't feel like it was that long ago at
I
all.
know, yeah. It's like July.
That's what. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it was on. It was definitely months.
little while.
I consider months break hiatus. It's
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
I have time. I'm doing things.
So if you want some comedy, it's there.
Yeah.
It's on outoflives.net. It's on your podcast service of choice. As are we. You can go to your podcast service of choice and obviously rate us the highest rating possible
Yeah,
and
please
say,
do rate us. We
excellent.
haven't had ratings in a while, and I know stats-wise that you're out there, and it does help us reach other people.
We're pretty
Please
good.
do.
I think we are.
Yeah, we're right.
I think we're decent.
Great.
With that, we've been tanked up by...
Ta-ra.
Ta-ra, ciao. Ciao, ciao, ciao.
www.outoflives.net